there, I'm Christina Johnson, transformational nutrition coach and owner of Christina Johnson Wellness. And today I have 8 tips for you to help you fall asleep faster and get a better, more restful night's sleep. I work with a lot of clients who struggle with sleep, which is no fun because then you wake up in the morning and you're tired and you don't want to get out of bed, or you need a nap at the end of the day, or you just don't feel any motivated by the time you get home from work. And the other issue is that if you're not getting a good night's sleep, it makes it a lot more challenging to be able to lose weight. Because I don't know if you knew this, but when you're not getting good sleep, your hunger hormones get out of balance, which means that you actually feel hungrier more often. Plus, we all know that when we're tired, we are not quite as likely to want to go home and cook a healthy meal after work, or we're less likely to make healthy choices. We want little bursts of sugar and other foods that will give us a burst of energy. So it's really important to make sure that we're getting a good night's sleep so that we have lots of energy and feel our best. So I'm curious, before I get started with my tips, I'd love to hear from you. What is your quality of sleep like? So let me know in the comments, rate on a scale of 1 to 10, what your typical nights of sleep is like. And so a 1 would be it's horrible. You're waking up constantly. You wake up in the morning feeling exhausted. And a 10 would be you fall asleep pretty quickly. You sleep well throughout the night. You wake up just ready to and raring to go in the morning. So let me know on a scale of 1 to 10, how good of sleep do you usually get? And honestly, even being able to bump up that scale, even 1 or 2 points, can really make a big difference in how you feel throughout the day and how motivated you are to get things done. Okay, so before I get started, first of all, if you think that there would be somebody else that would benefit from this, please hit the share button. And if you haven't already liked my Facebook page, make sure you like it, or if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss anything. But let's go ahead and get started with the 8 tips to help you fall asleep faster. And the first thing, the really big important point that I want you to know is that we need to figure out what is actually causing your issues with being able to fall asleep and stay asleep. Because what I find is, sure, it would be great if I could just say, do these 2 things and you'll fall asleep perfectly and it'll work for everybody. But unfortunately, that's just not the case when it comes to health or weight loss. We always want that one magic pill that's going to solve all of our problems. But what I find, whether it comes to losing weight or sleeping better or managing stress or dealing with anxiety, we really have to figure out what is the underlying root cause for you. Because once you figure out what is actually causing you to not be able to sleep well, then you can create a plan that's actually catered to helping your underlying issue, and then you'll be able to actually make a difference in how you're sleeping. So just as a quick example to help you kind of think through what some of the possible root causes might be for why you're not getting a good night's sleep, for a lot of people, I mean, it is caffeine. And I will tell you, even if you think caffeine doesn't bother you, keep an open mind here, because I was working with a woman in the 21-day clean eating reset this spring, and she said, I never thought caffeine bothered me at all. And she would drink it every day, a lot of the day long. And after she gave it up for 3 weeks, she realized she was actually tired and ready to go to bed by 11 p.m. Whereas before, she was wired and ready to stay up for way longer than she needed to. So don't make any assumptions here. So caffeine could definitely be a cause of why you're not sleeping well. It could be your diet. It could be just eating the wrong foods that's causing your liver to have to work harder at night. Maybe you're eating too much sugar, which is causing blood sugar imbalances. When your blood sugar levels aren't stable, then you're gonna have spikes or dips in the middle of the night, which will cause you to wake up. And that goes to your liver too. I mean, your liver is naturally detoxifying at night, but if your liver is having to work extra hard to process alcohol or caffeine or sugar, then that could cause you to wake up in the middle of the night. A lot of you probably know that either stress or anxiety or just an active mind is your cause of not being able to fall asleep. So a lot of people just can't shut their minds off at night, and that's what's causing it. Maybe it's cortisol imbalances. So your cortisol levels have a natural rhythm throughout the day. When you wake up, they should be higher, and that gives you energy and helps you get out of bed in the morning. And then at the end of the day, they lower so that you can start falling asleep. And if your cortisol cortisol is, out of balance, then you're not going to be able to sleep as well. And then there's also things like thyroid imbalances, adrenal fatigue. I mean, there's so many potential root causes for what's causing your sleep disturbances. So my point with that is really to encourage you, number one, that you might need to try more than one thing before you really figure out what works well for you. So don't be discouraged if you try one or two of these tips and it doesn't work right away. You just might need to try one of the other tips and figure out what's going to work for you. Because I promise all these tips that I'm going to share with you, they've worked for different clients. But I've had some clients where, tip 1 and 2 work, other clients where tip 5 and 6 work the best. So be willing to try a few different things and you will figure out eventually which one works best for you. Okay, and obviously if you need help with that as well, then what I've found is that through my total body reset system, we go through and we address a lot of these underlying issues so that we can figure out what's actually causing it. So feel free to reach out if you want more personalized support with this. Okay, but let's get started, the 8 tips. So the first category of tips are more like diet, nutrition related. So number 1, and with all of these, I'm just going to ask you to have an open mind because some of these, they're not new information. It's not probably all things that you've never heard of before, but I would really challenge you to ask yourself, have I actually tried this? Have I tested it out to see if it would work? Have I given it a good shot? So keep an open mind. So number 1 is no caffeine. Ideally after 12 or 1, but I would really challenge you if you really struggle to fall asleep or get a solid night's sleep, give it 1 or 2 weeks with no caffeine at all. So no coffee, no tea. I would even recommend avoiding dark chocolate during this time and just see if it makes a difference. If not, great, then add it back in. But after you get it out of your system and your body's not dealing with that every day, then you'll be able to figure out if that caffeine might be interfering with your sleep when you might not have even realized it. My second tip then, that's kind of nutrition related, is avoiding alcohol. So I know we often think that, well, alcohol makes me sleepy or I fall asleep faster. A lot of people, have a drink to unwind, to relax, to go to sleep at night. But alcohol will impact your restfulness of sleep. So maybe you do get drowsy and fall asleep faster, but your liver is going to have to process that alcohol while you're sleeping, which does impact the quality of your sleep. And I can tell you from personal experience, I never really thought that alcohol, like I usually have red wine, I never really thought it bothered me that much. But when I do a 21-day reset and avoid all caffeine and all alcohol for 3 weeks, what I notice is that I am sleeping a lot deeper and harder and feeling more refreshed when I wake up. And then the minute I add in a glass of red wine, I can immediately tell that night I will wake up 3 or 4 times during the night. And so I do think that alcohol is going to just affect the quality of your sleep. So if you are going to have a glass, I would move it up earlier. Maybe have a glass with dinner and then give your body time to process it before going to bed. And again, just try it for a couple weeks, avoiding it and seeing if it makes a difference. Okay, my third tip for you is eating less sugar and processed carbs. Blood sugar imbalance, hormone imbalance, all of these things will be improved by reducing sugar and processed carbs, which will help you get a more restful night's sleep. And so again, I know that's not easy to do, and I'm happy to help you if you'd like to give this a try, but just cut out sugar. Do a little detox for 7 days where you cut out sugar and really processed carbs and just see if that helps you have a more restful night's sleep. Okay, then I have another category of tips. These are more suggestions to create a nighttime routine. So this is probably, again, something that you've heard before, but this is especially good if you have trouble falling asleep because your mind is active, it's busy, or maybe you fall asleep but you wake up in the middle of the night and then your mind is going already. I have lots of clients who struggle with this. Then I really do recommend before going to bed, give yourself, I would say 15 to 30 minutes to unwind. And so some of my favorite strategies that have proven most effective for people, this is tip number 4 is journaling. So I know not everybody is a journaler. It does not have to be like this big long Dear Diary letter. It doesn't have to be like full paragraphs or complete sentences. But if you have a lot of thoughts going on in your mind, it makes such a huge difference to get them out of your head. I mean, research shows that when we have things that we're thinking about, it just goes in a loop. We think about it over and over. But once you get it out of your head onto paper, there's something about that process, especially when you're writing it with pen to paper, that allows your brain to let go of it. So if you struggle with an active mind at night, I would highly encourage you to spend just 5 to 10 minutes just journaling and writing whatever's coming to your mind. It can just be stream of consciousness, it could be bullet points or lists, it could be doodles. It doesn't matter really the form, but just getting it out of your head. And if you're not somebody, some clients don't like to keep a journal, they don't want other people to see it. So fine, you can tear it up and throw it away when you're done, and that works too. So that's tip number 4 is journaling. Tip number 5 is gratitude. I know that you've heard about gratitude before, but it is so powerful at rewiring our brain. So if you're more prone to stress or anxiety or negativity, really focusing on gratitude before bed is a powerful way to train your brain to look for positives. And ideally, what I would recommend is having every day forcing yourself to write down 3 new things you're grateful for. Because what happens then is throughout the day, your brain is scanning the environment, it's scanning the events of the day, looking for positive things because it knows subconsciously that you're going to be writing gratitude down at the end of the day. So you're actually rewiring the pathways in your brain to look for more positive things throughout the day. And it's just such a powerful way to help your body unwind and to help your brain just shut down a little bit more in the evening. So that's tip number 5. Tip number 6 is meditation. I know not everyone loves meditation, and so if it's not for you, you can choose one of the other strategies. But even just doing a 5 to 10 minute guided meditation in the evening is really powerful at helping you just unwind and relaxing the brain. And so there's so many great apps. I'd love to know if you have an app that you love for meditation, put it in the comments. But I think Calm is a great one. Headspace, I think is what it's called. Insight Timer, I believe, is another one. So there's so many great apps for that. But a lot of people find it's really effective at being able to fall asleep faster when they do a guided meditation before bed. Another idea, especially if meditation's not your thing, tip number 7 would be deep breathing. I love the 4-7-8 breathing. And so there's a great video, I think Dr. Andrew Weil is the one who talked about this, and specifically how helpful it is for falling asleep and also with just kind of dealing with anxiety as well. But this is something I recommend to my clients when we're in the 21-day reset. And I had so many people this last time try it and said they really felt like it did help them fall asleep faster. So you can Google 4-7-8 breathing, but basically it's just a form of deep breathing. You can be laying in bed, you breathe in from your belly, and so you breathe in for a count of 4, you hold it for 7, and then you breathe out for a count of 8. So it's a simple deep breathing exercise, but it really helps calm down the mind. So that's a great strategy to try if you never have before. And then my 8th idea for you are yoga poses. So there's a lot of yoga poses that are helpful to just unwind at the end of the day. I had a client once who had a little booklet of like 5 to 10 minute yoga routines for different times of the day. So there's one specifically for evening. But my favorite yoga pose, if I'm ever struggling with falling asleep, is to lay on the floor. So you lay against a wall. So you're laying on your back with your legs up a wall, and you just lay there. So I just lay there for a few minutes. I do my 4-7-8 breathing while I'm doing that, and then I get in bed. And I mean, it works magically almost. So I'm almost always able to fall asleep pretty quickly after doing 4-7-8 breathing if I've been struggling to fall asleep. So let me give you a quick recap and let me know in the comments which ones of these you might try. So number 1 is to do a little caffeine detox, or at least have no caffeine before noon. Afternoon. Number 2 is avoid alcohol in the evening. Number 3 is eating less sugar and processed carbs so that you can balance your blood sugar. That's a great one. I should say, as a little side note, if you have hot flashes, I highly recommend working on reducing sugar and processed carbs, because that can make a big difference with hot flashes as well, which is a lot of times the reason why people wake up in the middle of the night. And then journaling, gratitude, meditation, 4-7-8 breathing, and yoga poses, especially legs up the wall. So here's what I challenge you to do. Choose just 1 or 2 of these things to try and commit to it. Commit to it for at least 1 to 2 weeks because you really need to give it a fair shot before you decide whether or not it works for you. And then, like I said at the beginning, be willing to experiment. So view this just as an experiment and know that for some of my clients, journaling works amazingly. And I've had clients who struggle with insomnia for years who start journaling and doing yoga poses and all of a sudden they can sleep. But for other people, journaling doesn't work at all. So my encouragement to you is that if one thing doesn't work, it's okay. There's probably just a different underlying root cause of your sleep issues, and just try a different strategy. And you will find something that helps if you stick with it. And ideally, if you try a couple at a time, it won't take that long to figure out what strategy is going to work best for you. And then lastly, if you do want some expert help, if you want to kind of speed up this process and just have my expert eyes on your situation and giving you suggestions just to maybe make it a little bit faster or easier, then as I mentioned, that is definitely one of the things we work on in the Total Body Reset program. So that program is designed to get to the root cause of your weight loss struggles, but also as a result, because we're dealing with the root cause, my clients not only are able to lose weight, but they feel better. They get more restful sleep. Their digestion improves. They have lots more energy. Their aches and pains go away. So it's just amazing when you create this healthy lifestyle and a better relationship with food and stop eating foods that are inflammatory, then it really impacts all areas of your life, including sleep. And sleep is so important to being able to lose weight and keep it off as well. So if you're interested in learning more about that, then I would invite you to apply for a complimentary discovery session. You can go to ChristinaJohnsonWellness.com/apply. You'll just answer a few questions and then it'll take you to my calendar where you can schedule a session. And during the session, either phone or Zoom, we will really take a look at what you're struggling with in regards to your sleep and just kind of what your overall lifestyle habits are so that I can get an idea of what might be stopping you from feeling your best and having lots of energy, being at a weight that's healthy for you. And then I'll help you kind of map out what some next steps might be for you. And then we'll figure out together if one of my programs would be a good fit. So if you're interested in that free session to figure out how I can help you, go to ChristinaJohnsonWellness.com/apply. I'll put the link in the comments. And if you have any questions at all about sleep, be sure to let me know. I'll come back and check the comments. And I would love to hear which of these tips are you going to try. So put them in the comments. So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you have a great week and I will see you again next week. Bye for now.